legend, and she's here to share all her goods with us. Come on up, Amanda Dewey. Help me welcome her.
Wow, how amazing was Tracy? If we could all just find ourselves a Tracy, would life be so much better? Be like, business is just booming. First off, I really want to thank the New Orleans Market Council. I don't know how many of you understand that this is a completely volunteer gig for them. It's not something that corporate pays for. They're not paid to do it. They get nothing out of it other than giving back and giving you guys some community. So please give them a round of applause for organizing this. It can be a really thankless job, and they do an amazing, amazing job. So thank you guys. I also want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. I look in the crowd and I got to talk to some of you before, and I know that you've all sacrificed something to be here today. There's moms, there's wives, there's, you're missing soccer games, you're missing whatever it is. Time is absolutely our most precious gift, and I thank you for giving me some of yours today. So thank you for being here. A lot of you are familiar with my story because I shared a little bit of it in the Louisiana page. I am going to share a little bit more about my story first because I think as a truth speaker myself, it's important for you to know where I'm coming from and where my heart is at, because I will definitely tell you the truth, and sometimes that can hurt. So before I hurt you, I want you to like me a little bit. I have been a coach. It'll be 9 years in November. And Melissa McAllister is also my sponsor, and I was also in the fitness industry at the time. And as Tracy said, I was killing myself. I grew up in Minnesota and Wisconsin. I got married at 21 years old, so you can all figure out how much of a good idea that was. I was still in college, and my husband at the time was from the Dallas area in Texas. And so when I graduated from college and he hated it in Wisconsin, if we were gonna move, what better time to move? So literally I graduated from college, and the next day we packed our stuff in a trailer and moved to the Dallas area of Texas. I had no family there, no job, no whatever, and really kind of started from scratch. I was lonely. I was sad. I hated it. I feel like if you've ever lived in the north and you moved to the south, I know Katrina's like, I understand what you're about to say. She's from Chicago. I literally could have moved to Japan and had less culture shock. It was hard. I also had grown up in a really small town, went to a really medium-sized university, and I was in now a metroplex with 7.2 million people. And I didn't get any of it. I was struggling. So the perfect solution to that is to have a baby, right? I mean, obviously. So my first son was born, and lo and behold, I was probably more sad and more lonely and resented my spouse even more. Funny how that happens. So I made another, super obvious choice to have a second baby, because that would fix everything, right? I love my oldest two boys, the best thing, of course, to come out of that marriage. But right before my boys were about 4 and 2, we decided this was probably a bad decision to begin with. Our time is up, right? So filed for divorce. Meanwhile, in that same time, your lower 20s, I was learning that I did not make a very good employee. I didn't like being told when to show up to work. I didn't like to have to ask for vacation days or sick time, and I really didn't like leaving my babies. Really didn't like that. In fact, I sought counseling after my first son was born. He wasn't even in daycare. My spouse and I worked opposite shifts. And I was like, is it normal to love someone so much? I was like, because I really feel like this is not normal. He's like, no, it's normal. You actually do. As a parent, you're supposed to love your child this much. I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to come to terms with this. So, long story short, I quit, or was nearly fired. Usually quit before that firing happened, from every job I had in my lower 20s. And so I kept trying to come up with ways to make money from home. And I did any number of odd jobs. During that time, I also decided being a gym rat was fun. Went from being, a gym rat, loving all the group fitness classes, to then realizing, hey, that's a way I can make money. I don't mind being in front of people. I'll teach the classes, right? So that's just kind of the backstory and how I got into the fitness industry. I started teaching classes and then realized you really don't make a lot of money doing that either. Because at the end of the day, you're paying for your gas, you're paying for your music, you're paying for your choreography, you're paying for the cute clothes, and you're not getting paid all that much. So then you start taking more classes and more classes and more classes. And at one point I was working 15 classes, 15 hours. So that's physically doing 15 hours of teaching a week. And you can't find subs, so I was doing it with mono and strep and bronchitis. I could never find a sub to teach my class. And the company that I worked for, and it is a big box company, I'm not sure how this is legal, if you didn't find a sub and you didn't show up, you were fired. So I was a single mom with a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, working as a fitness instructor 15 hours a week with an English literature degree, which was going to get me nothing, refusing to put my kids in daycare because the divorce lawyer that I had offered me a job, but when I did the math of putting 2 kids in daycare, I was going to have $50 left every week. I thought I could probably come up with a way to make $50 some other way than having to be gone from my kids all the time. So that's, an intro this gig, right? I met Melissa, she offers me the opportunity, and I said, actually just filed bankruptcy about 2 weeks ago. Are you sure about this? I was also in the middle of home foreclosure. So obviously I had a lot of things going for me at the time. I was single mom, no job, bankrupt, and about to be out of a house. And she put this opportunity in front of me, and I said, give me 2 weeks, because I need to get the money together. So please don't write off those people that say, give me 2 weeks to get the money together. I was that girl. 2 weeks later, I had the money. I sold some stuff at garage sales, because eBay wasn't even a thing yet, really, at that time. And lo and behold, I became a coach. And I will say my story echoes Tracy in that if you're looking, success leaves clues, right? If you're looking for clues, 9 years ago, there was no training. There was nothing. There was no vital behaviors. There was not a whole lot of social media. Facebook was new. Instagram didn't exist. There was nothing. What I did do was talk to the people in my market, start sharing what I was doing authentically, and being in front of people and talking to that warm market. Slowly, I started making money. And I was like, okay, that was enough for me to be reassured that this was real. And every year since then, my income's only gone up. By year 3, 3 years in, 3 years from filing bankruptcy was my first 6-figure year. Obviously that doesn't, I was talking to some of the market council last night, and I'm like, now people, some people come in and they're like 6 figures in year 2. That didn't happen a lot in the beginning. So for me, 6 figures by year 3, phenomenal. The only thing I wanted to be able to do when I started this was to still be home with my kids and make enough money to support myself and to never have to worry about bankruptcy or having a house ever again. So, over the last 9 years, life, of course, has not always been easy. We all have our own story, our own journey. Our commonality, of course, is this business, correct? We all have different struggles that we're going to have to overcome. Let's see, 13, 9, about 4 years into the business. So very shortly after I started making 6 figures, feeling life was good, we built our dream house. I got remarried. Had a 3rd child, built our dream house, life was great. My dad got diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. Decided to not do chemo, not do any of it, just enjoy the time that he had left. And I spent the next, 4.5, 5 months flying back and forth from Dallas to Minneapolis, back and forth, and every time I made one of those back and forth flights, the year before, 2013, I had hit elite for the first time, my team and I. And every time I needed to fly back and forth last minute, that elite bonus would come through, and I could last minute fly back and forth. And that was enough for me so that even when my dad was sick, even when I was traveling all the time and dealing with, having 3 kids, one of whom was, of course, a baby at the time. I would still show up for the business. It was the constant in a world of a lot of ups and downs, right? Since, it'll actually be 5 years in November that he passed away. Obviously, since then, other things have happened. Life happens for all of us. In the 9 years I've been a coach, I think I've moved 4 times. I've sold a house, built a house. My current house is on the market. That's a real pain. I've had, obviously, 2 more children. I've gotten remarried. Lots of good things, lots of bad things. I've had, I think, 4 surgeries. I have a pretty serious hip injury right now that we're dealing with. So my point in saying all of that is just to say that there's never an excuse to stop showing up. Again, I said, success leaves clues, and something that I kept hearing in Tracy was showing up, and that's one of the key things that I can tell you as someone who's had longevity in this business and has consistently made over 6 figures a year every year since year 3, and over $1 million cumulatively with 4 kids and life happening. There's one thing I can tell you, it is that showing up consistently over time, that's the only difference between Tracy and I. It's the only difference between you and I is time and consistency. Time and consistency are the only 2 secrets to success in this business. If I had to tell you a few more, it would be to seek support. I had a stack of questions here, and I will get to those, but one of the common themes, of course, is time management. And I think time management has a lot to do with seeking support. All 4 of my kids know what I do and why I do it at all times. My husband knows what I do and why I do it. And they're supporting that. I make sure that my friend circle supports what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And yes, that means over 9 years, my friend circle has changed a lot. And that's okay, because if they were willing to let go of me because of my passion and my drive and my goals and what I wanted for my family, why did it matter what they thought anyways? Why would I be sad over losing that friend, right? So seek support. And you may have to, I know a lot of times I see it in my team. Spouses are some of the least supportive people out there, and that hurts my heart, and I know what I think about that, but I can't necessarily give advice on that topic other than let your hater be your motivator, right? I mean, if someone tells you you can't, God, use that. Use that. Prove them wrong. Am I right? Yeah. Prove them wrong. If it's your spouse, prove them wrong. Show them that you're going to get a paycheck every single week. They don't believe it's a real business opportunity? Sell something. Show them it is. Right? Don't give them a reason to doubt you. You don't want people to think that you joined some flaky networking MLM? Guess what? Stop jumping from MLM to MLM. Show up and be here 9 years from now. Be here 9 years from now saying the same stuff. Oh, this mouth. I'm in a church. Keep it together, Amanda. 9 years from now, you better be preaching the same thing. Move your body, eat clean, and take care of yourself, right? So seek support. Stay consistent. Be solution-oriented. There's a lot of, again, I'll get to the questions in a minute, but there were a lot of questions that have the common theme of, how to grow followers, how to grow on social media, again, time management. And to all of that, I will say, again, success leaves clues. Tracy mentioned this. Seek a solution. Rather than, it's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to feel struggle. In reading your questions, I said to the market council, kind of jokingly and kind of serious, I'm like, well, I wish I knew the answers to some of these questions. Because 9 years in, I still struggle with the same things. Social media isn't stagnant. I'm still figuring it out with all of you. The only difference is I have 9 years behind me to know If Instagram's the hot thing, that doesn't mean I quit Facebook. Doesn't mean I quit it. I've still got my toe over there. I'm keeping that pool warm. Not gonna quit that, right? Anytime, I used to be really strict about this on my team page, and honestly, it's kind of an unspoken rule, and they do it so well anyways, I don't even have to say it anymore. But if you come to the team page with a struggle or a problem or a question, you better either A, have a solution already to offer, or B, say, I truly have no idea, but I really want an open, honest forum on how to solve this problem. You have to be solutions oriented. Having trouble recruiting, work on it till you figure it out. And once you figure it out, know that it could change tomorrow, right? You're constantly seeking those solutions. And then this kind of just goes with the same theme, but really being open to new things, open to new adventure, open to trying and not having any idea whether it's gonna work or not, right? No idea at all, because quite honestly, that's probably how you got into the business anyways. You had no idea if it was gonna work. I mean, you knew like the products worked, right? But you didn't know if the business was gonna work for you, but you did it anyways. So you have an idea about Instagram, maybe you wanna try Snapchat, try it. If it works, awesome. You're gonna be on stage talking about this awesome new thing that you figured out. You're gonna share it with everybody. If it doesn't work, you're gonna add that to your list of when someone comes to you, or this new coach comes to you and says like, oh, I got this great idea, I'm gonna do this. And I'll be like, actually, I tried that, it didn't work out so well, right? You're just gonna have more things that you know how not to do, right? So being really, really open to how things change over time. Because if you're here, I know you're here because you are committed to your own health and wellness. Is that gonna change for any of you over the next 10 years? Is anybody gonna stop caring about their health and wellness? So then tell me why statistically half of you won't be here in 10 years.
Don't give up because it's too hard.
Don't trust the process.
Right? So can we just stop with that and commit to staying regardless for ourselves? Because that's how it started. And truly I do think that our 4 vital behaviors, which I don't know if I'm supposed to share this or not, they're kind of changing. It's okay? Okay, so they're kind of changing and tweaking them. And I love the change and tweak. Again, be a product of the product. That's where it all starts. Someone asked in one of the questions, if you're a coach and you haven't really done anything for a while and you're ready to get back in, what's your advice? Start with yourself. Be a product of the product. If you've stopped, using Shakeology or the performance line or whatever it was that you were doing, pick a program, pick a supplement, and do it start to finish. And share the good, the bad, and the ugly along the way. Right? You gotta start with yourself. Be proof that the products work. Again, I know that this sounds simple, but 9 years in, the things that I do today are still the same 4 things. It's still the same vital behaviors. Personal development. You had better be learning or growing in some way. There's 2 mindsets. There's a growth mindset, and there's a stagnant, everything's status quo. And let me tell you something. If you're status quo, you're going backwards. Because the opposite of growth is shrinking, right? So find a personal development that speaks to you. Again, with a lot of the questions, and I would say, sadly, 90% of the questions I get in my team too revolve around self-confidence and self-belief. And I'm gonna say, I was watching Tracy and looking for those commonalities. Again, success leaves clues. And unfortunately, I think Tracy was probably born confident. If not born confident, she was raised that way. Okay? And I will say the same for myself. All the time when I get asked to speak, the number one thing people who know me ask for me to speak on is confidence. And I'm like, I can't. I was raised by a badass feminist mom who taught me from day one I could do anything I wanted to do and then let me do it and let me suffer the consequences, good or bad. I don't know how to teach you confidence. But what I do know is that you can do personal development, you can be solution-oriented, and you can seek support in the areas you're weak. Yes? So I don't know how to teach confidence. I wish I did, and if I figure out how to teach this, I will write a book and you will buy it. Okay? I can't teach confidence, I don't know it, but I do know it's a common theme in successful coaches. And so if you know it's an area of weakness for you, do all the personal development you need to do to build that confidence. Okay? Personal development. The next thing that they're changing a little bit, it used to be invite, invite, invite. Invites are great, but guess what? A lot of really yucky companies invite, 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 and I think this is what makes this different. Connect, invite, follow up. I shared with my team the other day something I want to share with you guys. Obviously, I support other women who are doing their own businesses, yes? So I love and use Rodan & Fields, and I love my Rodan & Fields rep. About once a month, she'll text me, ask how things are going, is there anything I need? If I have something about to ship, she'll let me know. Every once in a while, her and her team will be having an event. She'll invite me, let me know what it's about. I love attending the little events that they have on Facebook. They're fun, I have a great time. I really feel like I'm important to her, even though it's just skincare, right? I get a VIP customer experience with her, and I love that. I want to duplicate what she's doing because she does it very well. Very good customer service. I also have, and this is kind of a flip side of this, I also have used and loved lip scents for years. And I have, for the longest time, loved my rep. I bought so much up front. It was probably about 9 months before I needed anything else. When I went back to her, you think she was still a rep? Nope. I was about to place another really big order. I wanted to know what fun new colors had they come out with, what else I wanted to see her, what could we do? I knew if I could get my hands on the little lip sense colors, I'd be a sucker for way more than I needed. I don't need any more. So what happens? She directs me to her upline. Can I tell you, over 9 years, one of the reasons I'm successful is I have not quit long enough. I've absorbed some diamonds, I've absorbed some great coaches, and I've absorbed some really loyal customers because someone else quit.
Wow.
Right? So now I'm gonna go find another lip sense person, and they're gonna have, and who do you think I'm gonna look for? I'm gonna look for someone on social media that's actually talking about, that's actually using the product. And then the next part, and this is my final point in this little section, is that there are a handful of other products that I know are made by MLMs that I am curious about and open to try. And I have had people from those companies reach out to me. Yet as of today, I do not have any of those products in my house. Do you have any idea why? Exactly. They have not followed up with me. Never followed up with me. Chances are, I can almost guarantee you this is probably what I said to them. They, maybe I commented on something, that led them to believe I'd be interested in their product, or they reached out, they did their invite. One of two things. If you invited me before you connected with me, you're not the rep for me. I can feel that sale coming, it's icky, I know exactly what you're doing, and I'm not interested in working with you. I almost want to teach you a lesson that that's not how you do it. So I won't work with that person. I'll wait for a different rep to reach out, or I'll find one, again, on social media. I'll find one who I connect with. So connect, invite. They do the invite. I would be willing to bet you that I said, contact me next Thursday, because it's payday. Contact me next Thursday, and it's a test of two things. One, it really is payday, and it's probably got more spending money on Thursday. Number two, are they going to do what I asked them to do? Obviously they didn't, because I do not have their products in my house. Yet, I have the money and the interest to be a customer. So connect, invite, follow up is an amazing tweak to our vital behaviors. Something that I think successful coaches have been doing all along, and they realized that that wording needed to be changed. So it's not a new concept, it's just a new change to the 4 vital behaviors. And then, this one's new, and it seems so obvious, it's almost hard to believe it hasn't been a vital behavior all along. And that is get people results. Because if we don't, where are they going? Bye. Peace out. If you don't believe in this product, why did everybody in this room say they were going to stay? Because you believe in it. You believe in health and wellness, and you believe that this company provides that. Yes or yes? Yes. Okay, so if we're not getting our people results physically for our customers and our coaches, and financially, because if you're a coach, you're here to make some money. If we're not getting them results, they aren't going to stay. So we have to be results oriented. I don't have all the answers for that. I have a ton of questions in that pile about how to keep challengers engaged, how to make challenge groups not suck, how to keep coaches engaged. I don't have all the answers to that other than seek solutions and keep trying and see what works for you. I do have some thoughts on that, but we do have to figure out ways to get them results. Am I right? So I can go a little bit more in depth with those, but I just want to really hit home that there is no difference here between someone who has had success in this business and someone who hasn't, other than showing up consistently over time. If you haven't read The Compound Effect, go read it, because that is exactly what this business is about. It's not about having all the answers, because I still don't, but it's about being willing to grow and to learn along the way. So thank you for listening. I do want to open up, I think first to just like a hand-raising Q&A, and then I can kind of go back to these. I would love to answer your questions. Hi, Megan.
So I've been trying a bunch of different trackers.
Yep.
Speaking of the following up. So do you have any that you've noticed are better for you that you've used as far as the follow-ups? Because right now I'm just like going all the way down my Instagram and like rewriting these people and
so her question, just in case you couldn't hear, is like, what kind of tracking system am I using? Is there one that I'm noticing is working well versus another? And my answer to my team is this: you have to find the one that works for you and that you will do. 9 years in, and I am still pen and paper. Okay, I do have an assistant. She's my niece, and she's the most amazing person on the planet, and she is part of my support system as I seek support in this business. Someone asked about time management. Time management has a lot to do with delegation. Yes. And if you don't have to do it, you can have someone else do it, including like my 14-year-old son can do stuff for me on Instagram. Why not? He knows it better than I do. Right? I'm finding new features and new fun things all the time on social media because of my kids. But point being, my assistant, she still uses pen and paper. I have people on my team who use Asana. I have people on my team who use just like a Google Doc, like an Excel spreadsheet. I have people that use Streak. Oh my gosh, there's a million out there. The point with tracking is to have a system that you will use. Because if you told me I had to use like I don't even know what they're called, like a form, like something digital, I wouldn't do it. And my follow-ups would get lost. But when someone gave me permission, because I will answer this question for her, Melissa McAllister still uses pen and paper. She's a double 15-star diamond. This will be her 6th or 7th year in top 10. Nobody else has ever done that. She's still using pen and paper. Okay? So the point is to do what works for you. Other questions? Don't be shy. Don't be scared. If you don't ask questions, I'll cry myself to sleep tonight. It's fine. Yes, ma'am.
So with following up and whatnot,
yes.
Do you keep everything through inbox or do you do email?
Yeah, that's a great question. Dana asked, do my follow-ups come through email, through Messenger? Where are they coming? And to answer that question, I have a couple different thoughts. One is, again, go where you are. So go where you'll do it. So like, I know some super organized people who are like, I have to do it in email because it's the only organized way that I can do it. For me personally, I'm gonna go wherever the conversation was being had, because it's clear to me that that's where I can talk to someone better. I love to get to a point on any messenger, whether it's Instagram, email, or Facebook. I love to get to the point where I'm comfortable to give them my phone number so we can text and voice. I feel like that is where most people are comfortable now, but I do, even on Insta, I try to drive them to Facebook Messenger or to text me, because I want them to be able to hear my voice. So I can do voice on Facebook and I can do voice on my text, right? I want them to be able to hear me, to hear the authenticity in my voice. Like sometimes I don't know, just stuff doesn't always come off right when you're typing. I want them to hear me say it, and to hear me say it with confidence, with casual, like, you do this or you do this.
And it's
right?
so much faster too.
And it is faster. And I do like a little, that sense of urgency. I still work that way. Email for me is like the black hole. So, does that help, Dana?
Yeah.
How many times, I have my answer for this, but I'm just curious for those who,
Sure.
whatever. How many times do you follow up with someone before you stop following up with them?
Yeah, so Jesse's question is, how many times do I follow up with someone before I stop messaging them? Until I get a hard no. And I will ask them for the hard no if I am sick of following up with them. I will let them know. I'm not going to stop asking you until you tell me no. And use the word no. So please just let me know so I can cross you off my list. Yes, I have a list. And it's okay that they know that, because I'm running a business. Who in a business doesn't have a list? Obviously, right? So yeah, until they tell me, stop messaging me, I'm not interested, I'll reach out when I'm ready. And even then I'm like, oh, that was kind of a maybe. It's kind of a maybe, right? Go ahead, Dana.
So 9 years of the business, right? So you're following up with people, you have people who, they're your customers forever. So what's your, system? Because you obviously still keep contact with all these people, right?
Yeah.
So how do you keep up with all those people?
It's a good question. I would say I put a little bit of the responsibility. Oh, sorry. Her question was, how do I keep up with all the 9 years worth of customers and contacts and etc. Early on in my business, I did purchase a CRM, which is a customer relations manager, just meaning like something like MailChimp. I use GetResponse. It's just something that houses all the email addresses that you own. Okay, I export out of, well, I don't do it, my niece does it, but she exports all the email addresses out of Beachbody. There's like an export button, and she does it once a month, exports out of Beachbody, puts them into GetResponse so that they're in my permanent list, right? Of course, I can only ever talk to them about Beachbody. I could say I wrote a book, I couldn't email that list because there's Beachbody people in there. Does that make sense? Yeah. Are you still following me? Okay. So, but I have that, and so we do like a bi-weekly newsletter. That sounds super overwhelming. It's not. I am a huge fan of reusing content that's already been created. Yeah. So again, my niece puts it together for me, but our kind of setup is like an invite to whatever next group I'm running. So like between Halloween and Thanksgiving, every single year I run a sexy turkey challenge. Super fun. So it'll have that in there. It'll have some information about it. Then the second section, so to speak, is either going to have a blog I've written or just like a longer, more meaningful Facebook post, etc. With it'll have the picture and the words, so it'll be that, or if I haven't written anything magnificent or created anything wonderful, she'll maybe grab a Beachbody blog, but it's something informative, right? Entertaining, engaging, educating, etc. And then the bottom will always contain a Shakeology recipe, probably something seasonal, so that Shakeology is always on their mind, right? I just want to have that in there. And then of course it has all my social media at the bottom. So that's, you don't get a great open rate on stuff like that, but it's my way of knowing, like, if they want it, it's there. And then the second aspect to that, because if that just was like, you just went, nope, not gonna do that, sounds like a lot of work, not gonna do that. That's totally fine. The second way I do that is they know where to find me. I'm everywhere on social media, right? Pinterest, got boards. Facebook, hi, I check in at least once every day. My like page is, again, created content. Instagram, I'm there. They know where to find me. So, to a certain degree, I'm putting that responsibility a little bit on them. And then, yeah. I mean, that's probably not a perfect answer, but that's the real answer of what I really do.
And I will say, anybody who said no to that, I do newsletters too.
Yes.
It's not that hard.
No, it's really not.
Hard, so try.
And most CRMs will have, again, whatever you end up using, GetResponse, MailChimp, what's another one? Okay, so they'll have usually like a formatting thing for you where it literally, like, it just walks you through it. They make it very simple, so. Yes, ma'am.
So let's say that you have someone who constantly like watches your stories or engages on your stuff, but then never responds to you anytime you reach out to them, but they still continue to watch you.
Yeah.
Just let them. I mean, I would say, you have to do what works for your personality. Me, I would be like, either join me or stop stalking me. You're clearly interested in something I'm doing. What's going on? What's the holdup? Like, I mean, I'm going to call a spade, and I'm okay doing that. Some people may be a little bit nicer or softer about it, but I would call them out.
I like that because I feel that I'm a lot like that, and I have felt like I shouldn't be that way because I don't want to be like mean or anything.
Oh, no, do it. Do it, because you know what? Here's the thing, you have to be authentically you from that very first touch. So they already know you're kind of a brat, right? Because they watch you on social media. Like, you're gonna know, like, if you follow me on social media, I'm sarcastic, I have very strong beliefs that I'm not afraid to share. I talk a certain way that I am very much filtering in this church right now. I literally, like, someone should write this down. I have not, so I think the worst thing I said was bad ASS. That is like the least I've ever sworn, even with a mic in my hand. But they need to know that from day one, that's who you are. Because then they're gonna come into your challenge group and you're gonna be like, you know, having a funny twerking video or something, and they're gonna be like, oh, bless her heart. You know, and they'll be like, this is not what I signed up for. No, I need you to know, like, from day one, you're gonna get all kinds of things when you're with me, because that's the person I wanna go to Mexico with. That's the person I wanna take on a Success Club trip. That's the person I wanna share this journey with. Not saying that, like, the bless their hearts aren't welcome, but I mean, if I offend you, it's gonna be a long 9 years. It's gonna be a really long 9 years, right? So be okay being you, because that's exactly when people say find your tribe, that's what they mean. Be you. Be like if you don't have haters, you aren't being you enough. Until at least half of the people who follow you unfollow you, you have not shared yourself. Because if you think about all the top coaches you like, and not even coaches, but people on social media, there's probably like a couple of celebrities or accounts you follow that aren't coaches, you know, that you just love and you go to their stuff. You love them because you know exactly who they are and what you're going to get when you go there. And I will add, even if you don't always agree with that person and everything that person puts out, there's something that keeps you going back. And it's because you know who they are and you know what to expect, right? So if I put out there that, like, I'm some Southern belle, and then people get into my challenge groups and they're like, oh, no, she's not, that's going to be a problem. But if they know who I am from day one and they're like, okay, I may not want to swear all the time, but it's okay if she does, and I like all the other stuff enough about her anyways that I will live with that. It is so important to building longevity in this business. Because someone had talked about, and I think it was you and I that were talking about the heartbreak of having people leave. Obviously 9 years in, my first business center is a 9-star diamond. I have personally sponsored over 35 diamonds in 9 years. Where they at? Well, there's a million different stories for that. But the point is when people come, people will come and go, and it's better off that they just know what they're getting into from day one, regardless. Be okay with not everybody liking you. What the number one? How many of you in here like country music? Keep your hands up high. Like country music. Now, put your hands down. How many of you hate country music? Unless it's Garth Brooks. I don't know. He gets like a special thing. Anyways, okay, so you saw the hands go up, but guess what? It's the #1 music in the world. And I hate it. I don't want to hear about your tractors, your dog, or your, I don't know, right to left. I'm just like not feeling it. Oh, whiskey. Yeah, well, it's not my brand. Vodka, but you don't hear him singing about vodka. Maybe that's the problem.
Bottle shots.
Because vodka's not for shots. It's much classier than that. Bloody Marys. Anyway, how many of you like red wine? Raise your hands. Put your hands up. Like, how many of you like red wine? Right? How many of you don't? Put your hands up. Right? It's okay. Not everybody, do you think red wine was like, well, these 5 people don't like me, so I'm just gonna stop being red wine. Liquor dealers aren't gonna sell it anymore because these 5 people over here don't like red wine. No! Because the people that love it, right? So the more you can show yourself, the more loyal the people who love you will be, and the more people who aren't gonna stick around for you anyway. Like, if you haven't read, what's that bus book?
Energy Bus.
Thank you. If you haven't read Energy Bus, grab that one. But basically, like, you get to decide who's gonna go on this journey with you, and you want people that are gonna be fun on the bus, right? And all the people that aren't gonna be on your bus need to get off. Like, I'm not gonna play country music on my bus. If that's a problem for you, you know, adios, right? I mean, unless it's Garth. Like I said, we can talk. Any other questions? Yes?
How well do you do with leads?
Ooh, that's a great question. She said, how do I do with leads? Not great. It's very, again, I feel like there's no super answer to it. I mean, you could write them a letter. You could text them, send them an email. You can stalk them on Facebook. Do all those things, and unless they're ready to hear it, and I would say over the years, I've had a few leads end up signing as coaches. A lot of, and honestly, it probably kind of goes back to what I was just saying. Like, a lead isn't assigned to me because they're going to be in my tribe.
Yeah.
They're just random. So I think if they resonate with me, then they stick around, and if they don't, yeah, we talk about that a lot on the round table. When you're 5-star diamond and above, you get invited to like this private little group with corporate. We talk about leads a lot on the round table, and it sounds pretty much the same. Like, you try. I think you should always try, but I don't know that anybody's found a really great solution for that.
Well, it seems like they're all do not disturb with their
I know.
contact
And
information.
that too, like with the do not contact, you're not supposed to stalk them on Facebook.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, if you just happen to like, trip over them, I mean, you can't help that. But I just want to see if there's anything. How do challenge groups? I tell you what, that's a constant question for me. These are just some questions about like keeping challenge groups exciting, engaging, yada yada yada. No magic answer, just keep trying. Something new that I'm gonna try. I don't do my challenge tracker because for me, I want to go where I already am, and for me, as a busy mom of 4 and someone who really wants to make the most of my time when I am working, opening another app every day was like, ugh, I already have to open 2 different apps, one to go to Facebook and one to go to Instagram, and a third to go to Messenger. Like, that, if that's how I am, I figure that's how most of my people are, so I don't use my challenge tracker, I use Facebook groups, but I'm about to try something new. My next challenge group is gonna be done in Messenger, in just a pod.
Wait, where? Sorry.
Messenger.
Oh, you do your account?
The next one, I'm gonna try it.
Okay.
So I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I'll post in the Louisiana page once it's done, but I'm gonna try that and see how it goes, so that people can kind of just chat and, engage. They can post their selfie whenever, and it's not like a feed. It's just messages, right? You can kind of get there. So I'm gonna try it. I don't have a magic answer other than to keep trying on that. New followers, all that stuff. Everybody's asking like how to grow Instagram, how to grow a following, yada yada yada. How do you find people versus brand? Again, I don't have a great answer other than be consistent, keep trying. You're gonna have to put in a lot of time, but along with the time is the consistency. Like, for me, 9 years into this business, I still work the business 7 days a week. And I'm not a slave to it. My family doesn't hate me. It's like literally like I'm sitting on my laptop in my bed, drinking my coffee in the morning while my husband watches the news and the kids are playing with each other. Like, that earns me over 6 figures a year every year for 9 years. Are you kidding me? You want to whine about working 7 days a week? I'm working in my pajamas, drinking coffee in the morning and wine at night. Stop whining to me that your spouse says, oh, but you're always working. No, you're not. You're doing something else. I'm doing this, and it's paying the bills.
Yes.
Don't complain.
Sorry, I love that.
Yes, no, but it's true. It's true. So when I say that, all I mean is, I don't have the answers. I mean, my Instagram, someone was saying like, oh, you don't have a huge following. My Instagram's like not quite to 4,000 yet. My like page on Facebook has about 15,000, but it means nothing because I have 0 engagement there. And then my personal page is maxed out at 5,000. But, and yet here I am, making 6 figures plus a year. 9 years into the business, I still sign people out of my warm market. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, I stay consistent in all the areas. You don't have to be on the latest bandwagon. And quite frankly, I have a marketing budget for Instagram. Again, when you're 9 years into the business, and this is a business, you obviously have a marketing budget, right? So I do have a marketing budget, but I will say, I don't put a lot of money there because part of me feels like by the time my Instagram is big enough, we're gonna be on to something else.
So when you say marketing budget, you mean like sponsoring ads and stuff?
Sure.
Okay.
I shout outs, paid shout outs on big pages.
Okay.
Sometimes sponsored, but they're getting harder and harder to run. The sponsored ads.
What is that? I don't even know what
Yeah, we could. There's a training in the main page
Gotcha.
that I did on that.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So, when you were trying to present the business, what is the best, or what from you, what do you do to set their expectation to work? To be a
Yeah.
working coach? Because we know that we can want them to be, and they say they are, really.
Yeah. So I don't recruit huge numbers. Again, you probably are all going to leave here feeling much better about yourselves and your businesses, which is a great thing. I mean, I'll take that. I'm not going to be, I don't have 500 Success Club points and sign 100 coaches a month. That is not how I've stayed, in this business for 9 years. I recruit 3 to 5 coaches a month. Okay, and hit anywhere from SE10 is the minimum, but then on up from there. But I think I almost died in July. Like if you do like the Be Your Best thing, like I hate the Team Cup because I know this is like Team Beachbody, but I hate team stuff. And but I loved the Be Your Best thing, so I don't know how I'm gonna do it. But of course, 2B Mindset, I didn't even try, and that thing just like sold itself. So like I had my best month ever like 2 months before with 2B Mindset at like it must have been 38 or something, and that was my best in 8.5 years, 38. The previous best to that was the 21-day fix release. Again, I didn't even like talk about the 21-day fix, and people were just buying it, right? Same thing kind of with 2B Mindset, it sold itself. Maybe that's where that longevity of customers comes in, I guess. They're there. They're apparently paying attention. They may not talk to me, but they're there. So when Beat Your Best came out, I had to really go for it. And I'm like, I am bound and determined to hit SE50. Literally 11:50, and my last order is coming in. I was at 48. She fell asleep ordering. She was nursing her baby and fell asleep ordering. And I didn't beat my best. I was so mad. I was like, seriously? I like killed myself in July. And that was not, my whole point of that was just to say, like, for me, that wasn't duplicatable. My assistant and myself were like, we did nothing in August. We were like, I can't do that. So what was your original question? Because there was a point.
How do you set up the
Expectation of working. So, why did that relate to that? It really did.
You were talking about your recruiting numbers, 3 to 5.
That I don't, so like I don't normally have these huge numbers, not huge high Success Club numbers. I mean, they're solid, This is what's, I mean, and literally it's only been the last 12 months that I pushed for 10 plus. For probably 7 years, 5 was enough to grow my business to where it is, okay? So like, legit, you don't have to be, like, first, that's not the expectation. I don't expect you to get 20 every month and recruit 10 coaches. Like, that's not my expectation. But for me, my point there is I personally would rather recruit less people who understand what the expectation is than tell everybody, it's gonna be so fun, we're gonna have so much fun, we're gonna go to Mexico, we're gonna go to Cancun, we're gonna go all these places, you're gonna go leadership with me next year, and you'll do all this stuff, and I'm gonna send you gifts. Like, I'm not trying to sell this to you when it comes to the business. I'm not trying to sell it. I am looking for the next Tracy. I'm looking for the next me. I'm looking for the next Melissa. I'm looking for someone who comes into my sneak peek having done the research, right? Because they are the ones that have figured it out themselves. They've proven to be self-disciplined. They've proven to be curious. They've proven themselves to be the person who will not expect to be spoon-fed. So I'll be honest, when I do sneak peeks, not everybody does them, but I do sneak peeks. When I do them, I am a little bit vague about some things and then really specific about others. Like, I let them know it's gonna be a lot of work, but I don't necessarily, like, it's kind of that balance so that they don't really know, they just know that they're gonna have to work hard to get where they're going. So for me personally, I would rather bring in people who think it's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
We have time for one more question,
Okay, last one.
if anyone has one.
No pressure. Let me just see if there's anything in here.
I think you got one in the front, Amanda.
Okay, let me just look at this really quick and then I'll... Okay, where's that one in there? Yes,
I
Abby.
was gonna ask you about the sexy turkey thing, but
Yeah.
how you deal with holidays and how people
Oh, I think,
fall
okay.
off with that kind of stuff.
So the quarter 4 is my best quarter every year because we, if you didn't realize this, are a solutions company. People have a problem, we have a solution. What are the holidays? A big freaking problem when it comes to health and wellness. So for me, it's like, it's obvious. Of course this is gonna be my best time of year because people know that they're gonna indulge on Halloween because, you know, I have a lot of mom-aged people that are gonna dig into the candy bowl. So for me, it's easy this month to be able to say, you wanna clean it up between Halloween and Thanksgiving and go into Thanksgiving knowing that you can have clearly I have not skipped the stuffing over the past 9 years. Like, I like my mashed potatoes and gravy, okay? But how about we go into that having cleaned up for the last 3 weeks? So you can go in and not feel guilty about enjoying a really special day with your friends and family. That's a day that we're meant to be grateful and plentiful. Like, why not? Why would we not be sexy turkeys, right? Like, that's a pretty easy sell to my market.
What workout are you doing today?
Anymore, I let people choose. I mean, I'm always gonna make the best recommendation for them. I rarely have a program specific unless it's a launch. So in general, people are doing something that's specific to them. Nutrition-wise, if you follow Melissa McAllister, you'll know most of us on her team do intermittent fasting. Many of us are higher fat, lower carb, which you can make work with a lot of the containers. So long as it's not 80-day obsession, most of the container counts are close. You can take out a few and tweak around a little bit. But anyways, I'm able to get people results in those 3 weeks. They can enjoy Thanksgiving. Then from post-Thanksgiving, leading up to the holidays, I usually do something, and I'm not religious, so I don't call it this, but that's just what the thing is called. Like, you know how you have like an advent calendar, where like you open something and you get something new every day? So I don't call it Advent, and I'm blanking on what we call it, but I do this challenge where like every day at like 4 a.m., I post the workout for that day. And it's something from BOD, so it's something I've created in the past and I just reuse it every year. But it's fun for them, like it's not program specific, so they're not, committed to doing Insanity Max 30 and they get 2 days in and they're like, screw this. Maybe there's one Insanity Max 30 in there and then maybe the next day it's some, it's a nice mix so that people get to, customizable. And it's fun, right? So again, we're focused on, keeping it clean during the holidays so that they can enjoy without the guilt, right? And then between Christmas and New Year's, we do like a holiday cocktails. Which is fun. Like we just offer different like skinny cocktail recipes and stuff like that. That kind of warms people up to starting, whatever they're going to start in January. So I love the fourth quarter. I find that when there's more problems, we have more solutions. I actually my slowest month of every single year is January, because for me personally, my experience has been that they've got a million different choices in January. And it's everywhere. So whatever maybe hasn't worked for them in the past, now they're like, oh, maybe I'll join the gym, And then so it's not till February when they're like, well, crap, I haven't gone. Maybe I do need this coach, right? So I just like to think of, kind of reframe it.
Right. So
Instead
you do
of
the
it being,
Advent thing from the 1st to the 24th?
I've done it a few different ways. It kind of depends on when Thanksgiving falls and Christmas, again, there's no perfect answer there.
Yeah.
Just whatever works for you. I feel like it's maybe been the 1st through the 24th. But I mean, anything would work. It's more just the idea of knowing your audience and knowing, like for me, I've got, for the most part, a lot of busy moms or, people that are working that just want simple solutions to keep it together so that they can enjoy the holidays without a lot of guilt, that they're not going into Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever they celebrate 10 pounds up and then already feeling guilty.
Yes. Right.
They can go in, like we do a lot of, what's this one group I do something to maintain? Just maintain your way through the holidays. Like how many of us would be happy with that?
Mm-hmm.
Be happy with that. And then, if we can achieve that, then of course they're ready to commit to something where maybe they're like, okay, I was able to maintain, now I'm ready to, in January or whatever, lose. So I think anytime that there are struggles, it's about being solutions oriented, seek a solution, and come up and reframe it. You're welcome. I feel like I've been on stage for like 17 hours. That's what my feet are saying anyways. Yeah, I think so. Are we done? We're done? Thank you guys so much. I've done so much already. Truly, the Market Council is amazing. You don't know what you have here. Would love to see New Orleans double in January. So can everybody just commit to bringing just one guest? Can you be here on January and bring a guest? And you've doubled.
Thank you.
Because you're going to be here 9 years from now, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much. You guys are amazing.